So let's get into it then, Sam. So
Yeah, of course.
why don't you start from the beginning?
Yeah.
So a little bit of background, where you're from and where were you raised?
I'm from, basically, I was raised in Cramlington pretty much most of my life, went to all the schools there. And then I've been in Morpeth for the last 9 years, I reckon. Mum and dad split when I was very young, I was about 2 years old. And then didn't really, obviously, being that young, didn't really know much about it. Sort of, dad moved to Bedlington. I stayed in Cramlington with my mum, and then see my dad like on a weekend and all that. And then my mum remarried. Again, stayed in Cramlington. And my dad obviously remarried as well. And then about sort of, I would say about 2 years before the accident, my dad and stepmom moved to Morpeth, and I moved out with them. And obviously that's where I live now still. And mum moved back to South Shields, where she is originally from. So I go over and see her every now and then, and I would say that's kind of like my background, really. Cramlington and then Morpeth.
So have you got any brothers or sisters?
Yes, I've got a little sister. She is 16 now. So there's quite a big age gap between me and Chloe, my little sister,
How old are you then, Sam?
27. So I've just turned 27 this year, and she's just turned 16 in February this year. So they like to say,
So you didn't kind of grow up kind of like playing around with somebody who was like 2 years
No.
your age or something?
no, I've got two cousins who are on my dad's side. My dad's brother has kids, and there's 2 years between us. So there's three of us. There's me, Matthew, and James. So Matthew, I'm the oldest. Then there's Matthew, who's 25, and then there's James, who's 23. So they're the ones I've kind of grew up with as a sibling. You know what I mean?
Did you knock around them when you were a kid, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I used to go to their house. They used to come to mine. We were all like very close. We're still are to this day. Obviously, jobs and that sort of thing. You grow up and you grow older and what have you. So Matthew, who's the oldest out of the two, he works down Barnoldswick, which is about, I think it's about 2 and a bit hours away. And then James, he still like lives around Cramlington area. So yeah, so we still like see each other and all that sort of thing. And we get like a big family event every year before Christmas, and we all see each other on my dad's side. And that's like 30 of them maybe.
So pretty close to your family.
Yeah, pretty family man.
Spread, all right, that's good. That's good. And just paint a picture of like family life as a kid, normal kind of family life. What we into?
Pretty much normal. Football was a family life, really. When I was a kid growing up, obviously, it's probably a lot different than what it is nowadays. But my it was like obviously going out to play football, going out on the bikes,
So pretty active and sporty and all that.
always swimming. So I've swam since I was about that big. I used to do swim lessons at Concordia and Cramlington, all the way from like Ducklands, I think it was called, when you're like 3 years old, all the way to like, obviously I swam for North Tyneside for about 6-7 years. Swam competitively, and that was my thing, was always a swimming. So I was a big swimmer when I was younger.
Oh yeah, do you do it now, or?
No, not very often. I don't get a chance with work and stuff now. I kind of, obviously, when I started working properly at like Caravan Park as a lifeguard, and then Wet and Wild when it was open as a lifeguard, just didn't have the time to train like 5-6 times a week. Getting up in the early mornings, 5:30, I was like, I can't be doing this, and then going to work, and then come back, have some tea, then go back in this pool. It's like, I can't be doing that, man. Too much.
So at school, what was school life like? Kind of lots of mates, kind of very easy. Did you like it?
To be fair, I look back on school now, and they do say, when they say it's the easiest thing in the world, it is. It's the easiest time of your life. But you don't obviously think of that when you're through it. But yeah, we had quite like a group of friends of probably, I would say about 10 of us. And I think I went to Cramlington High School. And for me, the Cramlington, like, it was all right. I didn't mind it. I think my favourite subjects obviously like PE. So I didn't mind English. Maths, didn't like. Don't know anyone that likes maths. Hated that. So it was I had quite a good like life in school. And obviously looking back on it, like went to sixth form, and then travelled with sixth form to America, like done an American exchange, which was something I've like obviously never done before, and that was quite exciting to experience. Um, and then also I done scouts, like so Beavers, Cubs, and Scouts when I was younger, and we travelled like obviously as you do with them lot, and then we went to, I think it was about 2010, went to Switzerland with scouts, and that was quite good fun. I mean, it was 27 hours on a bus. It was not fun. But seeing Switzerland itself was like lovely, and obviously how like just how good the place is, and seeing different parts of the world, and like going on holidays with family, which I was quite privileged of being able to go on like quite nice holidays. Like our biggest one was probably like south of France, Nice, going there, and obviously like Ventura, Spain, going to like Monte Carlo. That was a nice because you travelled. If you used to go to south of France, we used to obviously like have a day in Monte Carlo, and that was always like somewhat nice with the Formula One track and all that.
So you're always into that kind of stuff as well.
Aye,
Yeah.
always have since I was a kid. Bikes, cars, that was me. Always loved it.
Really? So you kind of follow that throughout your kind of
Pretty
childhood.
much. I mean, me uncle had bikes. My two uncles had bikes. Me dad had a bike. My stepdad had a motorbike. So I've kind of grew up with bikes.
Okay, so when did you start riding? Did you start riding young or?
I had like little like quad bikes and all that when I was about 7 or 8, if that. But I never had like a proper bike until I was like 16. I had a scooter.
Was that your first kind of form of freedom, was it?
So when I was 16, obviously, a lot of people like, you can't get a car until you're 17. So a lot of my mates were like having to walk or, I mean, so then I got my dad, I done my CVT when I was 16, and my dad's friend who ran the courses had like a little scooter for sale for, I don't know, a couple £100. So my dad bought that for us for a Christmas present. And like I say, I mean, the freedom, obviously, just being able to go out and about, and obviously go to school and go back, and then if it was a nice day, go out and that, like that was my thing, was always on the bike.
A mate of mine, because he got his CBT, was that freedom because you had to go to work, and it was like I can go to work now. I
Yeah,
don't have to get the bus or anything. Do you
don't
know
have
what
to like wait around or walk or anything like that. It was literally just like, right, I can set off whenever I want type of thing. If you're going like when I had the bike in school in sixth form, you could go out for like obviously dinner. So like I could nip home. It'll take us about 5-10 minutes on the bike, get home, get some dinner, come back to school, and then if it was a nice day, go out on there and even instead of like having to walk home and then I don't know, being stuck in the house or whatever, or whatever you want to do. Do you know what I mean? That was my thing. On the bikes, just like I said, and you do experience the freedom of when you have a bike in the summer and nice warm weather eventually. Um, and like I say, 17-year-old, you just that's it, that's life. That was my thing. Put the helmet on, put the leathers on. That was it. I was away, and I was just in my own little world. It was mint.
So you feel, I mean, it sounds like you've been pretty active all your life, but there's always like, I mean, it's the same as a lot of lads. I think it's football and it's cars and it's bikes and it's all. You kind of gravitate to that
Yes.
because it's like the adrenaline thing. Is that? Do you think you've got that in you
Oh,
as
I
well?
love the adrenaline.
Yeah.
Oh, it kicks in straight away. That was my thing. Like, even when I've like been back on the bike since having the accident and stuff, like I went last year to Silverstone to do it again for the first time in like over a year. And as soon as you put the helmet on and you're away, that's it. It just takes over. There's nothing else like it. To just be in your own head and just you're away. And that was my thing for the bike as well. Is like if you have a bad day or you had a crap day or whatever, you just went on the bike and that was it. Within 5 minutes, going even out coming up towards sort of like Blythe, up towards the coast. That was my thing. And I was away and I was free.
So was it always something you thought about as a kid of like, oh, kind of wait until I get a bike? Because you're kind of surrounded by them, aren't you? And you've seen them. Did you like get magazines? Was it that kind of obsession? Was
Magazines,
it?
TV, watching Valentino Rossi was my big thing, my big one. And just watching it on TV all the time, and then obviously being able to like go and watch them like at Knockhill, the British Superbikes back in like 2014, 2013. And then my dad got his tickets to go and see MotoGP for the first time at Silverstone in 2015, and that was a good one.
So that's
That was the big one.
we were really excited
Oh,
about that was.
it was. And then the what thing made it even better was Valentino. First time I ever seen MotoGP live. Like my idol Valentino Rossi won the race, so like it was just summit. It was just and and then like I don't think I'll ever like not experience that again. And then obviously meeting them last year and this year, when he does his car racing now at Brands Hatch. Like the first time I seen him there, and it was just like you like a kid at Christmas.
So,
That's just got anything you wanted out your Christmas. You were there. That was me.
so was it something that you went to do every year? Did you go with your dad every year, like watch the
Pretty
races?
pretty much, yeah. So went to Knockhill a few times, and then in 2016 went to Qatar. Because so me, my stepmom, my granddad, and my dad went to because my granddad's sister worked over there as a teacher with her husband, so we stayed over there. She got her tickets, and we just had to pay for the flights, and that was quite a good thing to experience because it's like a nighttime race. So you go out during the day, do whatever you want, sightseeing, enjoy the sun, then on the night time get some tea, and then go to the track and watch the bikes race. And like I said, that was my thing, and I still do it to this day. Really, I still go out. I mean, Silverstone, I went in there in August this year. Blew all my money that I probably shouldn't have done. Huh.
So you still kind of go on the
I'll
races,
still go
obviously,
then. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So you're still obsessed because I can
Still
see obviously
obsessed.
you got it on your t-shirt,
Yeah,
and
obsessed.
I can see on your car as well. You've got stickers all over your car as well.
Stickers
So
all the car. My room's just. I was out last night with a couple of friends, and we went back to mine, and there was this girl I know that is again obsessed with bikes, but her family are like bikes are death traps. She can't talk about them. Whereas she came to my room for the first time, and I mean I've got helmets on the wall. I've got signed stuff. There's posters. There's all sorts on my room. And that was my thing is like having it's like me man cave. That's what mine is.
a motorbike man
A
cave.
motorbike man cave, and that's one thing I've said. If I get me when I eventually get my own home and afford it, never mind anything else. I'm going straight to my man cave. I'm building that first. I'm sorting that first before anything else. Never mind a bedroom.
So was your bed as a kid? Was it a car race or was it something like that? I don't
Had stuff like that. So I've had birthday cakes was the big one for me. So obviously birthday you have, don't you get them now, but they were like Formula One birthday cakes, car. And I always used to have one of them for me each year for my birthday. And then like obviously my room was like it had like bikes on, it had all sorts. Played the bike racing games. I had all. It was always just bikes for me. That was my thing, literally. Just and that's what it probably will be forever.
So you're still obsessed with bikes.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Probably too much. Uh,
So I mean that's fascinating that because it's just something you're obsessed about, you're passionate about, you love.
aye.
So this has kind of driven you. You just kind of wanted to have that freedom to be on that bike.
Mhm.
So how long were you riding before the accident?
About 4 years. About four and a half years.
So
So,
so can we go through your
mhm.
bikes as well, please, Sam? Because I
Yeah.
think that'll be an interesting kind of journey through your bikes.
First one, sort of was I mean I had like a little like electric quad bike when I was probably about 7 or 8, if that. Um, just like as you do like kids ones and all that, something you get like from toy stores or whatever. And then when I was 16, passed my CBT test, got a little Peugeot, a little moped thing, and somehow I got a speeding ticket on that. And it went 39 an hour. I don't know how I got a speeding ticket, but there you go. And then next one after that was Honda CBF 125, which I bought with my own money, like birthday money that I saved up.
That's usually the first one, isn't it? That's
So
usually
that was my
entry level,
first
isn't it?
one.
All right.
And I remember, like I say, I had the bikes before I had the car. So I passed my test when I was 18, only because my dad was like, right, I'll buy you your first like car if you pass your test. I was like, oh, right, okay.
So you
Um,
never were kind of wanted a car. You've
I was
always
never bothered.
no.
No, never bothered. I mean, I say the Honda. I think I bought it with about 6,000 mile on. I think it was like a 2011 reg, and then I sold it with 36,000 mile on. And I used that for going up and down like towards Wet n Wild. So when I worked at Wet n Wild, that's what I had. That was my only vehicle. I mean, it wasn't very fun in the winter, like you're in right now, shivering, trying to keep your hands warm somehow, putting it on the exhaust afterwards for about 5 minutes, burning your gloves are through. But that was my first like proper bike, the Honda CBF. And again, like I say, I done about 80 mile an hour, which is fast enough for it, about 79, 80 mile an hour. And then
Did you do them up as well? Did you kind of like make them
oh,
spec them out for what you want to be? Like
46 sticker on the front, new exhaust. That was that one anyway. That's all I've done for that one, to be fair. Loved that. And then I got a job at the airport and chucking the suitcases and all that. I was on night shift one night, and it was, nowadays it was about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was looking through Gumtree, and I seen this Valentino Rossi replica Yamaha YZF R125. I went, ooh, ooh, I want that. And I was thinking, right, hold on. I was reading through it, and it was like a 2008, £1,800 with 600 mile on. I went, hmm. I was looking through, and I was like, do I? I was like, well, I probably could afford it. So I texted my dad when he woke up in the morning. I was like, can we go and look at this in Chesley Street? And he was like, well, aye, if you want. You got the money? I was like, aye. So I went up to Chesley, went to the bloke, and I had it out. And I thought there's got to be something wrong with it to be so cheap for like how many miles I had on. Absolutely spot on, fine. And I was like, right, £100 deposit. There you go. I'll come pick it up in a couple of days' time once I've got the insurance sorted and all that sort of thing. And I did. And then I remember, like, obviously, that was my first, like, that was like a proper like sports bike, proper like lent over
What was the CC on that one?
125.
All right.
So it was still 125, but it done about 90 mile an hour. So it was still quick.
Is this because you've got your CBT at the time? Is this why you've only got the 125s?
Yeah, so CVT only allows you to do 125s, but I did do my bike test. When I was about, how was I? 19. I'd done my mod 1 and mod 2, so I was able to get like a 600cc sports bike rocket, which I was actually going to buy from a bloke off at the airport where I worked with, but I didn't have the money in time before obviously the accident. Otherwise, I probably would have bought that. But no.
So this was the 125. So, Bud, have you passed your test on this 125 as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I passed my test on this 125.
So this was your first kind of bike that you really chose. You kind
Yeah.
of
So this Rossi one was me first like proper one. I was like, yeah, that's it. And then I'd done my test on a 600 CBF thing. I think it was like a Honda, which was, again, that was good. That was all right. I didn't mind it. Nice having a bit of more power and grunt. Bit of a change. And then, like I say, I'd done that one out properly. So I put a new big exhaust on that one, loud. That was a good idea with the neighbours, but never mind. And then I got like, so it was like blue, white, had a bit of yellow on, red. And I was there, my friend's dad, again, who are like big into bikes, and my friend and all that, who I've known since, well, God, reception. We used to go on the bikes together, like up at like Kielder, and we used to go up to like what's it called, man? Bike meets and all that sort of thing. Tyneside Auto Park. Used to go up there for a Thursday night bike meet, and just to experience that, doing Easter egg runs. Used to do that quite a lot. And then obviously like doing like the Christmas ones and going up towards like just experiencing all that sort of different side of it.
So any bike runs, you and your mate, you're out on the bikes, all year round, huh?
Yeah, or pretty much all year round. But then he had like put like an American style like Harley Davidson type bike with like it was a 125, same as mine. But like with his, it only done about 60 mile an hour downhill push. So I'm doing 70 miles an hour, 75. Tunk down like that. And I'm looking back and going, where the hell's he gone? And he's about 3 mile behind us. So I'm waiting at junctions and roundabouts, waiting for him to catch up. And obviously, like going around corners and stuff, I could just lean the bike in, put my knee down, in a way. Whereas he had to like come in and out because of the style of the bike, which you probably like you don't realize that you've got to like do certain things. So he tried to copy me once, and I just leant in, knee down, round the roundabout. He tried to do the same, clip the curb, went over the top of the roundabout. Went, Carl, what are you doing? He went, well, I tried to do you. I said, yes, but your bike's a lot different than mine. You've got to come out and then in, whereas I can just go in and round. Oh, was I?
So it seems like you had loads of confidence, like riding this bike as well, because this was your everyday and you rode it every day. So that's what kind of builds your confidence on the roads. Did you have any kind of scary moments, like as a young kind of rider?
I've had a few moments. I would say one of the biggest ones I had was coming through Cramlington, down where the train station is. It used to, where before the houses got built now, in the roundabout, it was like 60 mile an hour. And I remember coming off the roundabout, doing 60, again tucked in, and this little old fella, and I think it was like a silver Corsa. He, as they do, he didn't say it, and he pulled out, but he pulled out slowly. So I'm coming down, I'm slamming the brakes on the back end sliding, revving the hell out of the engine, obviously kicking off inside my helmet. Probably shouldn't say this, but I went and chased him. Road rage, I went and chased him, and then I pulled off with about 30 seconds. I went, what am I doing? Like, so I was like, oh, you know what, screw it. I did not, no harm, no foul. Um,
Yeah, you're just trying to make him aware that he nearly crashed into
yes,
you, you know,
exactly.
made you crash. So
And
was
I
it
would
close call or what?
close, that was the close call. Few road rage moments, like, but, as you do.
So is it always you're aware of like cars on the road,
Oh,
and are you kind of second guessing people? Is this what you're doing on the
yes.
bike? And you know,
Yeah, you've got a second guess. You've got to have that instinct to, right, these could just pull out. Or like when I used to go on the back with my ex-girlfriend, we used to go obviously go like down the middle of traffic and all that. And that's one thing you've got to be really careful of, is going down the middle of traffic. Because I know, like I say, people do, if your bike's loud, like mine was, they do hear you. And people do move out the way a bit. But it just takes that one to go, ooh, or just move out without indicating, and that's it.
Mhm.
You know? Um but I mean, like I say, and even in the car, like when I got a car and stuff when I was 18, and even to this day, you still have that instinct in your head to like react something that you think that is going to happen. So I was out with my friend for the football match the other week, um, and she knows I was into bikes and that sort of thing. She knows, like, we've worked together for 3 years now, um, and someone pulled out, and I knew it was going to happen well before it even happened, because you could just, I don't know, you just tell. And she went, "How do you know that?" I went, "It's just being on the bike. You do. You just get that feeling, and it just sticks with you. The instinct of like, right, you can see someone leaning over across the road, or you can see when someone's going to pull out in front of you because they're not looking."
it's experience, it's time on the bike, and if you're riding, even at a young age, you just that kind of becomes, it just does become instinctual, doesn't it?
Yes. And like they say, like the worst thing is, like I've had a few crashes and all that, like a few scrapes, and like people say, like, and if you don't, like, you need to get back on straight away, because a lad I used to work with, he had a motorbike, little game 125 thing, um, and he crumb off his and then never went back on, and he was scared.
All right, okay.
He never went back on. Yeah, and I'm talking, he just slid off the road. He just, that was it. He just come away. Nothing. He wasn't hurt. He wasn't out. He had all the gear on,
Mhm.
but he never went back on. And then he got scared, and then that was it. That was him done. And you think he'd only been riding about 6 weeks.
Really?
Whereas me, I mean, I've had a few scrapes, where the front end has come away, or like the biggest one I've probably had before this. Stupidly, it was about 25 degrees. I was at sixth form. I thought, I'm gonna nip home for some dinner, come back. It'll take us about 5-10 minutes max. T-shirt, tracksuit bottoms, trainers, gloves, helmet. And I'm going through Cramlington, and a bus pulls out in front of us. So they slam the brakes on the front locks, and I come along the road, and I scrape all the way down my arms, legs, and everything. And oof, I was lucky to get away with that one. And I've still got the scar on my arm there from when I've done it, on part of it. And I thought, ever since that day, I went, no matter how hot it is or whatever, it's not worth being in t-shirt and tracksuit bottoms. But yeah, to put my leather suit on, even if I have to unzip it and unzip bits, you know what I mean, to get air in.
I mean, I've seen on Instagram like girls in the back wearing a helmet and like jean shorts,
Mm-hmm.
and you see them in America on Inst.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I'm like, that's crazy,
It's
because it
that.
takes that one chance, and you're just saying, using that as an example of
Mm.
like, it just takes one chance of that. Hey, I'll just nip home.
Yeah, literally. And
That's when it happens, isn't it?
split second,
Aye.
it's gone. And like I say, ever since then, I was like, it's not even worth the risk. So we always have to, like I say, I bought like, like a lot of my money went on like good gear. So I had like the full race suit, race helmets, gloves. So they were all proper like race boots, protected and all that sort of thing. So when I did come off, even in the accident, there was no like, it was all internal damage. I mean, I had like bruises on my face and what have you, but apart from that, the skin is all still there. And that's the main thing. Like I say, I haven't lost any protective layers of me. skin and bone.
Well, let's. I mean, obviously, I want to get on to talking about that, Sam. But let's go from, because it's nice to hear, you know, you're out and about, you're with your mates,
Yeah.
and he's got his like little motor parley, you know, it's probably
Yeah.
probably a Suzuki, you know,
Aye.
or a Honda or something like
Something like
that.
that, whatever it was.
It's like the Intruders or something like that. So, because I used to be
Aye.
obsessed, I used to kind of be looking at them myself when I was a kid. So, um, so, so this is your bike. This is your Valentino Rossi. This is
Yeah.
your bike, your 125.
Yeah.
Um, and you know you've had bumps and scrapes, so you're aware. You're riding the thing every day. You've got the experience. Um, so how long have you been riding for? And was it this bike that you were riding as well
Yes.
in the accident? So
So,
because you know you passed your test, but
yeah.
you're still on this bike.
Yeah.
So there's no, you weren't bothered about jumping up to the next one. Were you thinking about jumping up
I
the next
was.
level?
So literally about, I would say, a couple weeks before I had the big crash, I was looking at buying a lad I worked with at the airport, his R6. I think he was selling it for about, I don't know, say like 1,800 quid or something. I think I had one more payday to go before I had enough to get it. And I wasn't scared. Because I'd like to say I'd ridden the 600 in like the practice runs and all that when I was doing my test and what have you. So I knew it was like, you know, you just do that a little bit. It was, you know, you're away. Whereas I wonder if I had to like rev it and all sorts, but wasn't bothered about it. No, I mean, I wouldn't be going out. I wouldn't have been doing anything daft on it anyway. Like you see some folk, you know, and they're like that through traffic. You know, they do it out the, you know, 100 odd, probably 100 odd mile an hour, and you can hear them before you see them. And like again with my brain, you can kind of tell how fast they're going without like high the engine note is. Um, but no, I was never scared to like sort of jump up for that next level. I was quite excited for it really.
So it sounds like you're pretty sensible in it as well.
Yeah, I've had me moments when I was younger, when I was 17,
Yeah, push and see what you can do.
push and see what you can do, doing wheelies through a car park in the school. Got told off for that. That's one thing I should probably, I got my back coming and coming in this, you know, the classroom where in the morning, teacher says, Sam, were we outside? I was like, oh God, what?
Did you know what's happening?
I didn't
Did-
actually have a clue, to be fair. I've had a clue. And she went, you got a red motorbike? I went, yeah. She went, right, well, I've seen you doing wheelies doing the car park, like out of school. I went, oh. She went, don't do it again. I went, all right, okay. I got caught doing wheelies out the car park. But like, so you do have them little daft moments where you know, you're experimenting what to do and how fast you can push, you know, sort of like round wherever wherever you're riding to. But to be fair, I always had the gear on. So ever since obviously that one day I didn't, I was like, yeah, always put the gear on, even if I was just going to fill up at Morrison's, literally from about 2 minutes away from my house, right? Suit on, helmet, gloves, you know, all that sort of thing. And yes, it annoys me to this day when I see folk who are in shorts, t-shirt, you know, and they're on more powerful bikes than what I was on, just because it's hot and I said, and like they say they'll come off, but these people never do, you know. It's like when my granddad talks about it and stuff, like it's always like the people who will have all the gear on who will come off and break bones or whatever, whereas the folk who will have t-shirt, shorts, helmet, and you know be 100 odd mile an hour down the road, some reason they don't come off or break anything. But yeah, it is what it is.
It tends to be a thing when you're on the motorway and someone goes past you doing 110 mile an hour. You go, well, how can they do 110 mile
Well,
an hour?
exactly. That is very true. But no, it was good to experience that side of it.
So how you were thinking about, you had the money, you were thinking about getting this 600, weren't you?
Yep.
So the build up of the 600 and the accident.
So like I say again, just waiting at the airport, speaking to a lad who he had just bought a new bike and 1000cc super bike thing. Mad. And he had an R6 and he was like, and he knew I was after one. He knew that's what I wanted because we, you know, you speak and talk and what have you. And a couple of lads had motorbikes at the airport, so there was a few. So there was a lad called Adam who I still know to this day quite well. We used to go out. He had a Jigsaw 1000cc super bike, and then a lad across the road from him who I met through Adam. They had two R6s. They were like a father and son. I would say, you know, my father was probably about 40s, I reckon, and I think that someone's only about, like you say, early 30s. I would 50s maybe for the father. Then. Quite a young, like father and son and father, and they had 2R6s, and one of them was going to sell his as well, and his was all like Rossi stickered up, and he was selling this for two grand. I think it was about a 2003 reg. And I was gonna like give him the 2 grand for that one and hopefully buy that. Because I remember we used to go out and I used to always like want to be on it, like look at it, and I was like, That's what I want. That's the one I want." Um,
So you had a mate at work selling it one for 1800. Then there's this other fella, well, one for 2 grand.
2 grand.
But you had the eye on the 2 grand.
I had the other two. It was nicer. It was a
Rossi
newer
one.
model.
Aye.
It was a newer model and it was nicer. And it was done out a bit more and it sounded a bit nicer. So that was my thing I wanted. But then obviously the crash happened, so it's kind of put a nail into all that when that happened.
So let's talk about that day then. Let's talk about the crash.
It was no normal summer afternoon. Started work about, I think it was about 2 p.m. and then it was going to finish about 11ish. Lovely day, sunny. I would say probably mid 20 degrees. And I was texting my friend at the time, just chilling out in the morning. And I was saying, do I take the car? Do I take the bike? And she was like, that's up to you, isn't it, really? Like, And I was looking at the weather, I was looking at the window, I thought, oh, go on, I'll take the bike. So I put the leather suit on, got some, like a ready meal from the fridge, put it on my bag on, earphones in, helmet on, gloves, walked down the drive on the bike, started the bike up, and I was away like any normal day, any other day away, not a problem. And again, going along this back road from Morpeth to the airport, which was the Kirkley Hall back road. Again, know that road off the back of my hand, travelled it hundreds of times to work. And then I remember, I overtook 2 cars on this straight. And I remember looking back like that, and then seeing this Audi A1, which I seen the day before in the work car park. So I like recognised. I was thinking, oh, I remember going, oh, I've seen that yesterday. And then, like I say, there was a left-hand corner, tipped it in, right-hand corner, tipped it in, and then as I was tipping the bike back up to the right-hand corner, the pigeon, like I say, it didn't see it out of nowhere, bang, straight in the side of me helmet. And then within a split second, it was like that, oh shit, fence. Just between me and you, if that, couple of meters. And I remember going head first into the fence, and then I must have landed either like bounced back onto the road where I landed. And I don't know if I snapped me back, hitting the fence, or wherever where I've landed. Obviously knocked out. I bit my tongue when I landed as well, so that wasn't all brilliant. Couldn't really speak or breathe. Punctured lung. And there was a girl from EasyJet, which is like to say the car I've seen before. She was like a what they're called, like a stewardess type person. And there was her and another woman over the top of us, asking if I was all right. And I was like, I can't breathe and I can't feel my legs. And they were saying that I was trying to take my helmet off because I'd never get claustrophobic. But for that, on that day, I think it was with the punctured lung, I just wanted to take the helmet off. Air ambulance came, normal ambulance came, obviously police were there, cut my leathers up.
So can you remember anything from that time as well? So
like as in,
like, do you understand what you were trying to do? Feeling, did you feel claustrophobic and take it off, or were you just doing it automatic kind of?
no, I remember like trying to unbuckle it, and
So you're aware of like what your
Yeah.
surroundings were and stuff.
yeah, eventually
Did
so
you pass out? Did you come to or anything like that, or was it just all like within a split second?
split second when hitting the fence, and I was knocked out for, well, I don't think I was knocked out very long from what I gather.
So your head hit the fence.
So I presume so. I think I went like that over the handlebar into the fence and then landed sort of like back onto the road, probably 50 yards just above a dip. But like I say, now when I think about it, this is obviously just above a dip where I landed. Thankfully, there was no car coming up the dip because you wouldn't have seen me until the last second. So I could have been splat. Could have been run over, which probably, like, again, worst case scenario. But this EasyJet girl, she was one that like rang me stepmom at the time. Stepmom, she rang me girlfriend at the time. Tried ringing me dad, um, and what have you. And then she sort of like stayed with us until the air, like till I was off in the air ambulance to the RVI. And I remember seeing her. I think it was about a month after the crash, for the first time, and what have you. I think I delayed a flight to Geneva for an hour. That was my doing because she was going to Geneva on a flight, working, and I think I delayed that flight by an hour. But I remember the girl she was saying, Sarah, she was called. Um, she came into work, obviously, like, that afternoon, blood on her, on her skirt, on her top, and in tears. So she was off work for about a week and a half, because of what happened and when she was there. So she kept saying she kept having nightmares because obviously when they had pulled up in the car, there was the EasyJet girl and a car in front of her, and the car in front of her had like an older woman in, and I think they thought I was dead because obviously I was on the floor just not moving, knocked out, and apparently this woman in the car in front thought I was dead and she couldn't stop crying. She was at the car like shaking in her car, couldn't get out. Um, and then the EasyJet girl obviously, same probably feeling, but she got out and made sure I was all right. And then she was like holding me head, making sure I couldn't take, because I was saying like, I need to take my helmet off, I can't breathe. And she's like, no, no, keep it on. You need to keep it on.
Is she like got first aid experience then? So,
I
because it sounds like she
I
has,
think she had a little bit. I think you might have like had to with being like a stewardess.
Mhm.
Um,
It seemed like she knew what she was
she
doing,
knew what I think she knew what she was doing in respect of like keeping my head still and all
Yeah,
that. So I think
but being calm and helping you through this whole
yes.
thing. So, did she actually see it happen, or did she just drive towards and
No, so
saw it?
it happened literally just before. So I overtook them, and I was probably about 100 yards ahead of them. So you on that right hand bend, even if you're on the left hand side, you can't really see. So I don't think they seen it happen. But they weren't far off it. Like, cause see, I just overtook them.
Yeah, so they were aware that you've gone
They
past.
were hours of past, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, but they didn't see it happen. Obviously, there was no dash cam footage or there was no like CCTV cameras around. I mean, there's a farmhouse on the left hand side. Um, but like I see there was no like footage. The only thing I got back was like pictures of the bike from the police, and what have you, and that sort of thing. But apart from that, that's all I got back. I'd never seen actually like the actual crash happen itself. But you know, pigeons bloody hurt, I tell you. Mm. But like I say, nowadays I just get on with it.
So, air ambulance
Yeah,
to the hospital.
yeah.
Let's talk about that
hmm
experience as well.
So I remember lying in the hospital bed, and I remember lying there with a neck brace on, obviously, struggling to talk to people, with a bit tongue and all that. And I remember, I think I had my stepmom was at the end of the bed. I had my mum on this side. I remember like my girlfriend at the time come in, and I mean, obviously I was like high up on morphine, probably the lot. And I remember like that she walked in and she just flooded for tears. Um, obviously seeing me all like bruised up and all that, but it's not going to be brilliant. Um, Also I think like I remember lying there, neck brace on, struggling like couldn't move, being sick, not brilliant, not a good time. Um, and I remember the doctors come round, and I think my stepmom was at the like end of the bed. I had my mum and dad and my uncle and my dad's brother was all there, on the bed around the sides, and obviously did all like the X-rays and what that have you. And I remember the doctor going like, basically, Sam, look, you'll never walk again. And I remember like me stepmom put her head on her hands and burst out in tears. Mum walked away in tears. Uncle cried, and I was just like, yeah, all right. Like I don't know if that's just because I was like obviously on morphine and like just quite out of it. Um, but yeah, I remember the doctor going like, "You'll never walk again." I was like, "Okay, right, there's now what I can do about it." Um, I mean, like, and then obviously I was in the month, about a month in the RVI, about a week in intensive care, and then had my own little side room, like where old friends and all that came along, and what have you. And then I moved to James Cook in Middlesbrough for 3 months. Got transferred down there for the spinal unit. Um,
So is this like a
like
rehabilitation?
a rehab thing. To be fair, met people on the ward later on and got quite pally with a few of them. One that's like I've got on like social media to this day and stuff like that. And he done a wheelchair with me for a little bit, for a couple of weeks, but he lives down like Middlesbrough way, so it'll be quite a distance for him, especially with like Gateshead way when we trained. But I met him through there, done like the spinal games after hospital. I mean, hospital life, it's not brilliant. Sitting there having jack potatoes every day for your dinner, and then I think was it Wednesday night was curry night. That was always a nice night. That was something to look forward to. But like I say, I never realised how far Middlesbrough was, like from Morpeth. So like when people used to come and visit us, you know, I never realised how far they're travelling until I had that first weekend home. So what they used to say is before you were let out, forever, you had like a weekend at home to get used to things and what have you. And the hospital like had like a flat like upstairs, like to get used to like home living. So towards the end of like your rehab, so the last sort of month, you could go up you could like book out the flat as it were, and being able to do that, which was nice because you had your own little space from the ward. And obviously trying to get used to the wheelchair, that sort of thing. And I remember like I've got a video somewhere, I think it's on Facebook, of me literally just trying to sit up in bed. And I mean nowadays I can just push up and just do that. But it was like it took us about 5 minutes to even just sit up. And obviously having to like for I'm paralysed from the chest down, is having all that core strength taken away, being able to balance, being able to just do that. Couldn't do it. Couldn't even sit up in a chair like this, without falling forward. And that was the big thing for me, was getting sort of used to that thing again of being able to sit up properly,
Just kind of everyday functionality.
getting dressed a different way, that sort of thing. Just back to daily life as best you could.
So at what point, I mean, you seem like you've just accepted it straight away. I mean, this is just coming from me, Sam,
Yeah,
because I I don't know what that would be like, and I don't know how I would kind of handle that news. So some people find it sinks in a little bit later. Was there any of that?
there was, to be fair. So like when I was in the Middlesbrough, it did sink in a bit. And I was like, oof, this isn't good. Like, it's a complete different life. But like, I say like people at work, I say people are like in the rugby, friends, family, like people always do ask us how are you like so positive, or how are you like, how do you just cope with it? Because like, and it happens a lot at work, like customers that are like, like regulars that come in, and people I work with are like, I can never cope with like how well you do. And I says, because it was a freak accident, it was out of my control, there was nothing I could do about it. I think that's probably how I can do it better. Whereas if someone pulled out in front of us, or there's a drunk driver or someone on the phone, my mindset would be like, right, I'm angry because it's not my fault. It's someone else's fault who's caused me to have this.
Yeah, because there's somebody you can project your anger on.
Yes.
See, I
Whereas,
mean, you can't exactly project your anger on a pigeon, can you? Or can
no,
you?
well, no, not really. I mean, I killed it. So I suppose I got me back, and then I've hit two in my car and went through the front grille. So I've got me back on their family. But later say I just joke about. I just have a laugh about it. Like I mean, to be fair, like at work, some of the stuff I come up with, I probably shouldn't be able to do it. As in, like it's quite, how do I put it, brutal, But like people say, like if you don't laugh, you cry, you know. And we're all here to have a laugh.
So there's never a point where you got down about it, Sam. There wasn't any dark days or anything like that.
There was like there was times where you sit and you're lying in bed and you can, and you do go, oof. It does set reality, like, should I have just took the car that day? Should I have just took a different route? You know, what happens if I left? 5 minutes earlier or later or whatever, or you didn't even overtake them two cars. So there is times where you do get worked up because you go, oh, well, this is not how I planned life, you know. And again, like I say, the big thing for me is, especially in the summer, winter, I don't mind because I was never out on the bike in the winter properly and then I had the car. But in the summer, that was my thing. Be on the bike 5 times a day. That's the one thing I do miss. Just going out on the bike whenever I wanted. That's probably the only thing I miss. Other than that, there's quite a few perks.
So was that going through your mind as well when that kind of happened, the realization to you, like, because it seems like your passion's bikes.
Mm,
Was that, and you mentioned before your friends come off
yeah.
and it's getting back on. So was there a doubt in your mind that you would never ride again?
No, well, because I remember like the physios and like the OTs and all that were like, oh, what do you want to do when you like come out of hospital and that sort of thing. I went, oh, I want to get back on the bike, don't I? They're like, what? And they're like, yeah. And I remember I remember me and like one of the OTs researching like bikes for like the disability thing, and that's how I found one. And I remember me mum, it's the middle of August. What do you want for Christmas? I was like, I don't know, like new bike helmet. She went, what? I went, oh, new bike helmet. She's like, no, you don't. I went, yeah. And then later, see, I mean, bless her heart, she actually got us one for Christmas.
Is
Um,
that just because you asked for one? She felt bad.
Probably, um, but yeah, I mean, like I say, there was never a thing where it's like that's not me, that's me put off bikes. Like no, never in a million years would it be put off me going on a bike again. And then like I say, I was out in December, and obviously having that feeling of being able to look forward to go home again after spending like 4 months in hospital. It is a big change, and obviously getting the house adapted, that was another massive thing. Which thankfully it's all done now, and it did take about 2 years to do. Getting everything prepped, getting everything sorted, and even like it's talk about freedom, like having the car now, and then being able, because I remember when I first got my first mobility car, I couldn't get the chair in and out of the car myself. So like if I was at my friends, my dad was having to wait up and like get us in because I couldn't do it. And then that was another big thing for me. It was learning how to like have that independence again. And like, right, I can go out, get the chair out, go to the shop, come back, get the chair back in the car, and I learned that through like that the gym possible, doing a couple of physio sessions, and that was my big target at the end was get the chair in and out.
So did they teach you any of this in the rehab, or
No,
just kind of functionality of living standards and stuff?
more like, I mean, for my personal point of view from hospital, they teach you how to get dressed again, like a different way, or like how you're gonna do it. Teach you, I mean, I don't even know how like describe it. It was more or less like the kind of teach you like just how to the very basics. So like, for like I say, for me, obviously being able to sit up without having the core strength, being able to sit up like I am now, that was probably the biggest thing for me. And just getting back to like, like in that flat, like like cooking or like how to like transfer from the bed to the chair, or how to like transfer just getting up out of bed. Do you know what I mean? That sort of thing. That was probably the biggest couple of things in hospital. But for me, it was like, right, 7th of December came in, out the door, right, see you later, ta you're on your own now, basically. And that's pretty much how I've just learned my own thing, really. Just learning how to do my own thing. Like I say, having an OT come out and like, things for the blue badge and like having to like grant for the house to get adapted and all that. Yeah, but like I say, apart from that, there was nothing really major in hospital that I kind of sort of went, right, that really helped me. Apart from, like I say, sitting up and getting that core strength a little bit better as best I could, without having like the muscle tone and all that. Yeah, that was about it really.
So there's a massive adjustment coming home, kind of
That was a big adjustment.
must be hard on your parents as well.
I would think so, yeah, like obviously, having like a different circumstance of like, obviously thankfully we already had a downstairs bedroom in my dad's house. So it was just a case of getting that extended out and then getting a wet room put in. And then we did have these like, and I've still like these little metal ramps, right, that we used. So the house back on's all been done out again. since the accident. So it's all been like, decking put in, it used to be like a wall, and I'm talking about a distance of like here to there, from the back door to the wall. So there was never a big gap, not enough for it to fit a chair in. I remember like the Northumberland services or whatever it is, give us these like two metal track ramps, having used to get in and out the house. Um, Obviously didn't have any way of getting upstairs for a bath or a shower, so I was like having bed baths for 2 weeks. So like having to wipe myself down with wipes and all that wasn't brilliant. And then like I say, it was a big adjustment for that. I think that's the biggest thing. And then we've been using these like track ramps for about 2 months. Then the OT come up and went, oh, you shouldn't be using them anymore. They're dangerous. Well, what? Like, you've told us to use them. This is what we're using. How all of a sudden they're now not suitable? Oh, you can't use them. Well, how else am I going to get in and out the house? Bunny hop, you know? And then I remember like having to go to the leisure centre in Ashton just to have a shower. And then we eventually got like a bath chair and like a stair climber thing, which was like a little seat, like a little aisle seat. And I mean, tiny, strap in. And you'd have to have like, they had like controls on the back of it. So like my dad would have to like use the controls and like the wheels would retract up the stairs to get like a bath. And I remember having like this little, like this old granny style bath chair that would lower you in and the seat cover always coming off. So I was sliding up and down the bloody bath. Again, it wasn't brilliant, but it done the job, until the wet room got put in, which was just before COVID, I think that was. So it was about early 2018, just before COVID, all that got sort of was like majorly sort of sorting out.
So it took a few years though. So
Oh, it took a good year and a half, 2 years to get everything up to scratch.
and as for support and grants and stuff like that, is it easy or is it hard to get these things?
I wouldn't. It's not easy, Sometimes you do have to fight sticks and stones just to, get like like the benefits and all that sort of thing, and your blue badge and all that. But once you've got it, you've got it, Um, and it's quite funny because like every year, like obviously you renew your PIP, yeah, and they say has anything changed? Well, no, completely snapped me back in half. Now it's changed, Obviously, I get some people it does change, but for me, it's like, no, I've snapped me back. Like, oh, I've done a good job of it. So there's bit, and obviously the big thing for me was the wheelchair. So having a wheelchair that was actually like comfortable and for me. So when I first came out of hospital, I got this wheelchair. It was like that, massive. It was too wide, and I remember like obviously, it was quite bad weather. So I didn't have a car. I didn't even know anything about having the car until the OT came out and was like, "Oh yeah, it's through mobility. You can go to a dealership," and we're like, "Oh, all right, okay, right, well."
Bit of sense of freedom back then.
Yeah, and I remember like me and my dad just going to dealerships and just finding out what the situation was, you know, going to places like Audi. I remember we went to Audi, it was the first one we went, it was Audi. And we were just looking and we're like, oh, right, we've just come out of hospital recently. Look, we've know this, you can get a car on this mobility. What's a crack? So this mobility expert in the dealerships that they have, went and sat through it. I was 21 at the time. 21 or 20? 20 I would have been actually. I would have been 20 at the time. And she's like, oh yeah, you can have this car, this car, this car, this car. I was like, all right, okay. I looked at an Audi A4, I think it was. And I was like, she was like, oh, how old are you? I went, oh, I'm 20. She went, ah. I went, oh, what? God, what can happen now? And she went, mobility set like an age limit and an insurance limit. So it had to be under insurance group 16 and you had to be over 25 to get anything you wanted. 25? Yeah.
That's a long way off 20.
It's a long way off 20. And I was like, oh, so what can I have then? She went, an Audi A1. I went, oh, no, you're Harry, thanks. Not for me. Anyway, we tried a few different dealerships, that sort of thing. And then went to Mercedes. Just to, again, have a little sport round with Scottswood Road. And there was an A-class in. It was white with black wheels, black wing mirrors. And I was like, that's quite nice. Quite like that. And there was like a CLA, like coupe version or whatever, saloon, whatever it is. And again, they were like, how old are you? I went, oh, 20. They went, because the limit's 120 horsepower. And I was like, it's 122. Like, come on, it's like 2 over, I know, but then that's when I realised the insurance group had to be 16 or under. You went, well, actually, I can do you the A class, A160. I went, I'll have a look. And it didn't fit in, to be fair. I was like, all right, I'll have that.
Was it the car or was it the accessibility that you were bothered about, Sam? Because
Um,
you're a fan of cars and,
I
you
would
know,
think cars. I mean, now like, when I had it,
yeah.
I was like, this is nice. Like, I would never been able to afford it if I was just on my own. Like, if I didn't have the accident, don't get us wrong. But like I say, I've had to learn all that just through on my own, like finding out things on my own. I'd never got told that through hospital, you know.
So
Um,
you buy the car and you go, wow, how do I figure this out?
literally like what happens now, and then like went to spoke to the dealership guy, and he's like, "There's a place down the road that does hand controls," and I was like, "All right, okay," and they're called Buick Motability. I was like, "Okay." He says, "Well, you can arrange like a test drive with them, and they have like a range of hand controls that you can try out, and then you just pick one that you prefer, and then they'll tell us, or you come and tell us which ones you want on, and we'll get them fit. We'll, when their car arrives, we'll get them fitted." So I tried like 2 push-pull levers. I went, nah, they're not for me. There was a ring, like an over ring that's in front of the steering wheel, and there's like a slidey one that's behind the steering wheel. And I went for the over ring one, just because you had both hands on the wheel. You don't notice it when you're driving, so you'd have hands on the wheel. You can just turn the car normally. You're just pushing them with that part of your hand, so you don't even. It's just nothing really. It's just like driving a normal car. You're not having to do anything special or nothing. Um, so that was the big thing for me, was obviously getting the car back. Um, and then I had a car obviously prior to the accident, a Skoda Fabia, which I bought. So it was like obviously I'm trying to sell that to obviously because we had no room for it and it was no use to me now. So unfortunately, I just had to sort of get rid of that. Um,
What's the adjustment period like of kind of learning how to drive in a different way? Is it easy for you or?
that one was easy. It took us literally because obviously me both hands were on the wheel, didn't really notice it much. I was like, yeah, no bother. Like literally, like it took us a couple of minutes to get used to it. I thought, yeah, that's fine.
What about getting the chair in and out? What was that like?
That was difficult. That one, trying to find ways how to do that. So with the chair I had at the time when I was learning to do that was like an NHS one, a bit like this one, but like heavier and wasn't made for me. Wasn't specially made for like my width or like where I put my feet or whatever, or the way they should be anyway. That took, I would say, probably a year to do fully. I mean, now I can just get in and out within a couple of seconds. Doesn't take as long at all. But again, I've had to learn that. And again, that was just me learning how to do that. And
Take a practice run, like
yeah,
where, because it's all about the wheels off and getting in. Because I've seen you do it, and I've seen a few others do it as well, and it's definitely a rhythm that you get into. Left
yes,
wheel goes first, right? Which you know what I mean, all of this kind of stuff.
literally,
You cover, then you chair, and you got to do it with one hand, don't you? Really kind of reaching
pretty
over the
much.
car.
I mean, like I say, so like the way I do it is, get the chair next to the car, just like jump in the seat, lift the chair by the handles and like put it against the door, and then I take the wheel closest to me off, pull the chair in, take that wheel off, in, and then literally grab a hold of the handlebars at the top, the handlebar at the top there, reach underneath here, and just lift it over. But again, that's took me a year to do fully. You know, don't get us wrong, it's a lot easier in this chair with like a lot lighter and frame and what have you. And then like some of the other ones, like like Kev that does it and all that sort of thing. It's just one of the things we've just had to learn. You just learn how to do it, and then it just comes natural instinct.
What's the difference between like an NHS chair they give you and the one that you got now?
So the one I've got now is like made to measure for me. So it's like my like body weight. It's light. The NHS one was about 8 kilograms, and this one's like 3.5 kilograms or something.
So do you get measured up? Do you like made to fit?
Yeah, so it's made to fit. So they come out with like a tape measure, like RGK. They'll have like a rep guy for the Northeast. He'll come out, tape you up. You'll go anything specific you want. Any like specific colors, any specific brakes, handles, how high you want your backrest, if you want a different backrest, what kind of cushion you want, that sort of thing. How far back you want your wheels to your frame, so how tippy you want the chair,
Can
or
you
what foot plate you want, all sorts really.
Can you build these and then test them out, or is it just like you've got to order it, order what you
So
need?
they like have a range that you can sort of test out, but in respect to this one, it was more like you know, they're similar. There's nothing like going to be like dead on accurate, but it's all like similar adjustments, similar specs. And then obviously you build yours, which RGK had like a configurator, like a car configurator for a wheelchair. So you could pick your colors, you see what it would look like, and then they would take the measurements, you know, how far you know, how close you want it and all that. And then they would go and build it. Um,
Is that funded, or is you got to buy it yourself?
no, so it was £5,500 for this chair, which I mean, stupid, but you know, because it's like titanium and all that sort of thing, it's, you know, it's light as anything. I got like a £2,000 grant from the NHS wheelchair I had. So you got like you know, it's like, I suppose, like a little grant thing, which helped funded that. So you know, I paid about three and a bit thousand, and then the 2 grand helped for that. Which, you know, it is good that you can get that. Um, but a lot of people have. I don't know if everyone does get it. I don't know. Like for like Abby, I don't know if she got that for her chair. Maybe I don't know if she had like an NHS one. Um, and then obviously you just, you know, pick what you want, pick what tires you want, what wheel rims you want, brakes, the lot, and then like I say, they'll build it, and then they'll deliver it, and then
So you're getting back into normal life. You got your chair, you got your car, and so what's your thoughts about working? Kind of just getting into the sport, because I know you're into wheelchair rugby, so getting into that as well. Like, do these come like hand in hand, or did you meet somebody in hospital that did it? So how did all of this come about?
so for likes of the wheelchair rugby, I met a lad called Paul, um, in hospital. He'd never done it before, but he heard about it, like the club that I'm at now, like when it was starting up, and he was like, "Do you want to give it a try?" I was like, "Mm, maybe," and then
Is that just because it's something to do and you're trying to find something
yeah,
active to do?
I would think so, and it's something different, and it's like it's just trying to get back out there. Do you know what I mean? That way, you know, and again, it just takes confidence just to get back out there. You know, doing your own thing and what have you. And then I tried, and I was like, yeah, you know, it's quite good. I remember trying it, like you do this thing called spinal games. So you do it like within a year after you've like been out of hospital, and they have like all sorts of like wheelchair basketball, wheelchair rugby. You know, they had like swimming, they had like, you know, the wheelchair racing chairs and bikes and all that, hand
So it's
bikes.
a taster session for people
Like a bit
like
like a big,
recently in wheelchairs, so
yeah.
kind
So it
of.
was like a weekend thing that you went down. So like me, Kev went down. Obviously, I didn't know Kev until I went to that thing because he was in hospital a week later than I was. So I came out on the 7th of December. He went in on the 14th of December. Um, and then, like I say, me and him went to that together and what have you. So I met Kev through, and obviously he does the rugby now. We've both done the rugby at pretty much started at the same time. Um,
So what team do you play for?
Northeast Barbarians. So it's Newcastle Wheelchair Rugby, but the called Northeast Barbarians. And I've been through that since probably come up 5 and a bit years now, 6 years.
And
So
how's that changed your life though? Sam, is it kind of
give us more freedom, and it's give us something to do, and it's obviously fitness levels gone back up now. You know, it's somewhat like competitive, and I am quite a competitive, so always have been. Um,
well, you like the adrenaline, don't you?
yeah, exactly. So it's like it's good. I enjoy it, and it's something I like enjoy doing. Um, Shame I couldn't get in the Paralympic sport version of it, mind. But again, it's good fitness. You know, obviously just getting promoted to the Premier League last season, then coming finishing second. You know, runners up in the first time in the Premier League against, you know, five whatever Leicester Tigers champions or whatever. You know, amazing. You know, absolutely love it. And then to see how much, to be fair for me personally, it's to see how far that's progressed. So from when we first started to like pretty much nothing, you know, I remember our first tournament down in Stoke Mandeville, it's like 5 a side, and we had turned up with 4 players. And it was no case of where we had to nearly forfeit the whole weekend and just not score any points and just play for the crack, really, you know, just play for the fun of it. And then we end up getting some random woman in from down south who ended up playing for about 2 years for her. Um, So, and then to see what it's like now from what it was then is a big change. Obviously, how many players we've got, how well we're doing tournaments now, how much we've like got when we got promoted, you know, to the championship, from the championship to the premiership, you know. So it was good, and it's good to see that development. And then like just how well the team is, you know, players wise, you know, like me, Kev, you know, Mick, um, even Abby when she first came along. Do you know what I mean? And then see how well she's doing now. You know, it's just nice to see all that progression from everyone really, and to see how like you know how close we were like you know like I would say like sports families, how like close we all like when like for that for people who do want to join and stuff like I know who are thinking oh you know not watch all what's out there. Everyone's in the same situation, so you can all talk about the same thing. There's no like hiding from anything. You don't have to like back down. You don't have to like keep hush hush about anything. You can all just roll in the same boat, which is nice, and that's a good thing for confidence as well.
Because you've got a similar circumstance which you can talk about, can't you?
Yeah.
Plus, you don't have to. Do you feel like you've got to kind of be careful what you say? Because you said you got a dark sense of humor about your chair and stuff like that, but that probably is easy when you're in a team with a bunch of people who are in a similar situation. That must be quite a free thing as well.
It is, to be fair. So, like, you know, when you're all a team and you know, you all have the same sense of humor. Me, Abby, Kev, you know, we all have the same sense, the three of us. Even like some of the other players, like Ross, you know, and I have that sort of like, you know, where you should, you know, you're not afraid to say anything. You know, you were, oh, shall I have said that? Shall I have said this? You just get on with it, and you all have a good laugh about it, you know, and we all make out with each other because you know it's just that's what you do.
So do you get any nicknames as well?
I've got a few like Hot Wheels. Got that's one at work. Hot Wheels. I've got one. Uh, Pigeon. Huh, that's
That's
one.
that's quite dark.
That's
That's
got a
not.
dark one. Uh,
How can you laugh about that?
I
But you
don't
can't.
know.
It's kind of.
It's just I don't know. Like to be fair, there was one day. I don't know why. And I've got it in the house, right? So obviously we're like a lost property, and someone had left like a teddy pigeon, right? Like a proper like a full on like it's creepy as fuck, right? And it's proper realistic. It's weird. And one of the Jeep managers found that in lost property. Went, Sam, there you go. I've got a present. Went, what am I going to do with that? And then the bar manager went, come down, Scooby, and he said, what you should do with that, right? Is you should get like attached to your chair. I went, right, okay. And he goes, if anyone ever asks you, oh, what happened? He went, that little fucker there had him stuffed, you know. And like, I mean, at work, it's bad. Like, there's just some of the stuff we get on. Like, I stay or like, there's a lot I work with Stephen who I've known for years, or like Megan, I've worked for. It went wild and all that sort of thing. So we know each other for years, and we're just some of the stuff we come out with is just you shouldn't probably do it, but you can see customers' faces going, should he be saying that? You know what I mean? Like there was one moment, and I probably will always probably remember this. A lady had just come in to sign up for the gym. She would come to collect a wristband, and Darren, one of the lifeguards, was sat on the end of the desk doing like a cleaning sheet. And we're talking away, I says, oh, like, you know, sorting a membership out, that sort of thing. And Darren was talking to us saying, oh, like, are you using the gym? Are you using the pool? You know, just having a general chit chat. And she went, oh, but I'll be using the gym. And he goes, right, well, I want you to use every machine in the gym. And she went, you know, I'll be crippled. I went, how do you think I feel? Right. But she didn't realize what I said until I wheeled away in the wheelchair. So I come back to get a wristband and she went, ah, and she was like gobsmacked at what I said. Obviously, me and Darren are sitting there, bloody pissing myself, laughing. And she's gone bright red like a scream mask. It was hilarious. And then like I say some of the stuff I say, like, what do you mean? I just sit around on my arse all day getting paid for it. It's mint, you know. It was one of the girls' birthday last week, and I got like a little birthday cake for her, a few of her, and put like a post note on, and I said, you know, to Alicia, happy birthday. Well, shouldn't you say this, but I said from Spaz Wheels, and you know, but like it's just some of the things. I mean, I don't know. I just get on with it, and I probably like I say these things that I shouldn't say, but I do because one, I'll probably get away with it anyway, and two, just a laugh really. But like you know, like sometimes Stephen from like behind this. Well, we got like a little Alexa dot behind the desk, and you play that Ed Sheeran song when he sings "When your legs don't work, when your legs don't work like they used to no more." You know, and I'm like, like serving customers and all that, and you try not to laugh, you do because you obviously you're trying to be professional and stuff. But sometimes you can just go, "I've seen man, what you doing?" And then the customers are going, looking and going, why is that song playing? But it's just one of them things. Just crack on with it and have a good joke.
I think that's it, isn't it? It's kind of
Aye.
humour. We do that in Britain quite a bit, you know?
Yeah, got a good sense of humour, I think.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you were at work that have all got the same sense of humour, um, as like me, Amanda, Megan, Steve, Kieran, we all take the piss, take the mick out of each other.
So what you doing now for a job then, Sam?
I work at Pontyland Leisure Centre. I work at reception mainly, and I teach little kids how to. I teach little kids how to swim. So that's my sort of two main jobs. Um,
Have you felt you've given advice out to people who are in chairs as well? Is it kind of has
uh,
that opportunity arisen or not?
not that's not really. I don't know. I never really thought about it. I mean, you get people who come in wheelchairs and all that, and again, you get friendly with them and that sort of thing, and what have you, or like I was out last night in Pontyland with like a couple of people, like people I've known from Pontyland since working there. Um, and I mean, Ellie, who I was out with last night, for some reason, she loves taking the chair bits and putting it in the car. That's her thing. So when I jump in the car, she likes taking the chair apart and it's something she's learned how to do, and she loves doing it now. But I mean, I don't think I've ever really give out advice. I just sort of people do say like, oh, like when they've seen us on TV for the Great North Run, congratulations, how to get on, and they go like, oh, that's amazing. I was like, well, yeah, it's just one of them things, isn't it?
I suppose you don't want to kind of be thought about or have any sympathy to you because you don't see yourself in that way.
No, I mean, people call us like an inspiration, all that sort of thing. I'm just like, all right, yeah, like fair enough. Like, and like I was at my mum's retirement do on Friday night, and again, a lot of people, obviously, I don't know who they are, but my mum's obviously spoke about it to them and that sort of thing, and they know who I am, and they're like, oh, it's amazing what you're doing. I was like, oh, you do be polite and say, oh, thank you, and this, that, and the other, but in the back of my mind, I'm just like, I'm done no different. I'm not, I've done I'm done the Great North Run, all right, done a few things, and been back on the bike and what have you, but that's about it.
So last point, let's talk about
hmm
that.
hmm
Back on the bike.
Yeah.
What was that like then, Sam? When was that?
Oh, meant, loved it. So I remember coming out of hospital in December, 7th of December, and I remember it was
Which year was it, sorry?
2017.
Okay.
So it was I had the crash on 27th of August 2017, and I was out about 7th of December 2017. And I remember March 2018 they're doing the Easter egg runs. Again on the me mate's dad set up like a trike for like his mate had a trike. So again, all very new to this, being in the chair, not being able to like sit up properly, and then putting my leathers back on, putting the helmet back on, and it was absolutely chucking it down with rain. But even just sitting on the back doing the Easter egg run, that was good. And then it was in March. I went down to Silverstone, but do this like special adapted bike thing. And it took us a while to get used to it again. Obviously, like the balancing, the controls of just having to being able to lean the bike again without obviously leaning off it. And then I've done that. I've done that about 6 times now. I mean, last time I did it last year. Again, it's just that feeling the buzz. You're whizzing around the track that they've got. Your helmet's on, and you're just again in your own world, and it's just like I remember I took a photo of me with the helmet on after I've just done about a 10-minute run, if that. Pardon the pun. And I was like buzzing, like just proper like that. Do you know what I mean? Like smiling and happy, and like obviously even when I do like up Slowly Hall the quad biking, so I know a couple of lads who run that all out adventures, and I've done the quad biking a few times, and strap my legs in, it's like thankfully it's like hang on anyway, so you just and you're away. Like me, Kev have done it before a few times, and and like even have that. I mean, I'm tired afterwards, like, because obviously sitting down you can't absorb the bumps and the rocks. You and it's going all through your stomach. So when you finish, you're like, all right, I need to lie down now. But again, it's that buzz, adrenaline of going fast.
So what was it like kind of getting on it again? Kind of what's the adjustment like? What do you have to do just practically?
Um, it's scary at first, like the very first time I got back on it, because you're like you don't know what to expect, like how different it's gonna be, if it's gonna be different, if it's gonna be, if you're not even gonna be able to do it, you know. Um,
So where are the functions on the bike must be different,
so
is it?
kind of. So on a bike, you've got your throttle, normal handlebar, you got your brake, your front brake, your clutch, and then obviously I think it was your was it right or left foot. I think it was your gears. So obviously down for one, then up two, three, four, five, six, or whatever. And your rear brake was your right foot. But on these special adapted ones, you had like cyclist toe clips. So keep your feet in like there, so they're going like that bit there. You had where in these sliders as well, they had like Velcro straps. So you have the Velcro straps in there, and then it was buttons for gears. So clutch in, red for down, clutch in, green for up. And it was I mean, it took a while to get used to that. But they had like a Suzuki 650. So again, I was used to the power of the bike. Um, and getting used to that, and obviously being able to like have the momentum to go a bit faster, to be able to lean the bike properly without actually like leaning off it.
Because a lot of core, isn't it? It's about
Yeah.
center of gravity. So how's that without the use of your legs? Do you strap yourself in? How does that work?
So with your legs, obviously where your knee sliders are, you take them off and it's like a Velcro pad. So they have Velcro straps that strap your knees in. So your knees are locked in, your toes are locked in, but that's it. So obviously when I'm leaning obviously on the bike, when I do that Silverstone thing, it's all just like that. So you're kind of moving through your shoulders, more or less, not so much your core for me personally. So so once you get the speed up and you be able to do that, you're able to it just comes slowly, with a flow in, out. But like I say, it's all just like through the shoulders and through the arms for me. That's all it is.
So the same rhythm as what you used to ride.
Pretty much just not got my knees scraping along the floor.
So how has it got an auto kickstand or something? How does it kind of stay upright?
So what they'll do is they'll have like people who will come in and catch you. So they'll have like one person behind you, one person in front of you, and then the person in front of you leaves or steps aside, and then obviously once you let the clutch out and give it some, obviously you're away, and then you do your run, you do your 10-minute lap out, 10-minute few laps, um, and then you come back in, and obviously like you'll sound the horn when you're ready to come back in, and they'll be just waiting there like like a pit stop crew sitting there waiting to catch you, and then they'll catch you. They'll put like the back stand down, so like the back paddock stand down, um, and that's it. Then you just turn off. Or there's another one that has like stabilizers on it, so like the like wheels that come out like at the side. So you're like you can nose turn so far, and it literally just like stop you on the side. So you're just like that. So you can't go anywhere. You can't. So when you stop, you stop basically.
So there's no worry about coming off. You weren't worried about that. You just kind of wanted to ride.
Just want to ride. I was if I come off, I come off. But again, it's not going to hurt, I suppose.
So is that the only chance you can get to ride is doing something like that within a controlled environment?
Pretty much all like the quad biking. Obviously, you can get like trikes and stuff, but I haven't got room for it at the minute. So I've looked into like getting a Can-Am Ryker, which is like a two wheels at the front, one at the back, and a lot of wheelchair users have them. So there's a woman called Sophie Morgan. I think she's quite famous, and she had one. She had a Can-Am, but the problem is they're expensive as well. They're stupidly bloody money. But like she had you can get like adaptations, probably who are made, where you can put the chair on, and like I say, I mean, if I did get one, I would find a way to do it myself. Like she had one where she had to get like someone to do it on and off, whereas for me, I'll be like, I'll be able to do this myself somehow. I'll manage it. So that's one option of getting back on the road, but again, I haven't got the money for it, and it's I haven't got the space. Like at my dad's house in the garage, you know. It, so I've got nowhere to put it. But apart from that, if I got my own place, I would get one, and that's probably the like a chance I've got of being back on the road, unless I got fixed back up, unless I ever did get fixed. Which don't get us wrong, it's never not a possibility, because I say like people say at work, like I say people at work and like what have you, and like friends, like would you want to get fixed? I went, well, I said, but the thing I've got on my side is time. Like I was only just turned 20 when it happened, so I've got age, time, if something does come out. Um,
So you're kind of hopeful that something might
yeah, I
be
mean,
invented that
if
you
it
can walk
does,
the
I mean,
gym in.
to be fair, I probably had probably a bit of a better life in the chair than I did probably, able-bodied. The only thing that's obviously I was training for the Royal Navy when I was able-bodied. That's what I wanted to be in the Royal Navy. So obviously the only downside of it is obviously it stopped us from doing that. But I mean, you go to the football matches, like you get half price tickets, you get a free carer ticket. Shooter bikes, you get a free carer ticket. Like attractions, like I've been to London a few times and like been to the aquarium and again you get free carers tickets. So there is quite, and you obviously get like cheaper cars, which are again nice. So like there is perks to it. Don't get us wrong, but the first thing I've said this since day one. The first thing I do if I ever get fixed up is I'm never mind to get in the car or going home. I'm going to a bike dealership. Says gives me helmet and give me helmet, leathers, gloves, boots. I'm away on the bike dealership. And never mind that. Straight there. As soon as I come out of hospital. But like I say, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, then it is what it is. It's one of them things. And like I say, I think I've had a better life in respect, doing the Great North Run, doing the Kiel Half Marathon, doing things. Just things I probably wouldn't never thought I'd be able to do in the chair that I have done, and I just get on with it, and that's it really.
So it's just giving you a different purpose, hasn't it?
Aye, pretty much. Just different purpose of life, and just being able to just, as I say, jump back on the horse and get on with it. Um, yeah, that's my sort of big thing, and yeah, just crack on. And like I say, if it happens, then brilliant, back on two wheels. If it doesn't, then I'll find ways. I'll find a way. I mean, could even get my own track bike, but then again, the problem is obviously there's not many tracks up here, whereas they're all like down south. Like Silverstone, it's all like a few hours away. So then you have like having to get like a van or something to put the bike in, and then obviously like all the equipment, and then obviously for me it'd be like having someone there to be catching us and into the pits, not just being able to like step off the bike. Do you know what I mean? And that's so there's a couple of ways, but we'll just see what happens.
Maybe you should build it yourself, some kind of entrepreneurship, get a bit of get the crowdfunding going.
Oh, I tell you. Well, to be fair, I mean, I don't know if could I be bothered? Maybe. If I could be, if I haven't got have I got the patience for that? Maybe. But no, I'm not like. There's a guy who raced in British shooter bikes, Glenn Irwin, who I've met a few times when I've like went down there, and I've got him on like Instagram. And we know we follow each other and stuff like that. And he said, if you ever did want to get back, he would like help support us and all that, which is nice because like he's like a professional racer. So it's nice to have that, like, so someone would like be able to help you out a little bit, whatever that may be. But again, I enjoy the quad biking, and if I do get back on the road on the trike thing, then that's good enough for me. I would reckon it's good enough for me.
So just a little message to people out there who are possibly in a situation that you suffered in your past. Any advice?
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to challenge yourself, and then if you think you can't do it, there'll be a way around that you can do it. You've just got to learn to adapt. No matter how long it takes, no matter if you have to try multiple times to certain things. And I think don't be afraid to try something new. I would think, and like I say, always look if you can, on the best side of it. There will always be dark days, don't get us wrong, you still get them years down the line, but there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. And for me, it's just keep on focusing on that light at the end of the tunnel and seeing how things go. And just being able to like, right, this is what I want to do. This is a mindset. And just trying to get that mindset in respect of, this is me now. Let's build. Let's being able to progress in a different way if possible. And if you do progress, let's achieve goals and set goals for yourself. And then just building yourself back up to that level that you want to be at. whether it's fitness, whether it's getting back on bikes, whether it's, getting into a different sport, like the wheelchair rugby or like wheelchair racing, that sort of thing, you know, just try out what's out there. And if something works, and you will find something that works for you, it's just being able to push yourself to that limit.
Perfect, Sam.
And that's all right.
That's great, mate.
Oh,
Love
you're very
that.
well.
Love that.